Replacing the flex and plug of the Quansheng UV-K5's drop-in charger. Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. So I've got a lighter in my hand at the moment. I'll explain why I've got that later, but first, this is the drop-in charger for the Quansheng UV-K5, and this is the plug that came on it. And as I mentioned in the video on the radio when I first got it, that this plug is illegal. And this is a proper UK plug. This one I bought from the local Tesco. Less than a couple of pounds for that. And I'll show you what's actually inside there. So to open it, it's just one screw. And then it comes apart, that cover comes off. And here's what's inside a replacement British plug. You've got 3 terminals, earth at the top, live here, going to a fuse that's normally filled with silica sand because of the amount of current it has to break if something goes badly wrong, and the neutral down here. So you'd wire it so that the first thing to come out would actually be the live if the cable was pulled. Because you don't want the neutral or the earth coming out first, because that wouldn't go down very well. Which makes that plug very illegal indeed, because it doesn't have a fuse in it. I'll see if I've got an example of a moulded plug as well, so have an idea what one of those would look like. So I've got here a soldering iron that I bought specifically for the purpose of melting the wax in the tuning coils, tuning inductors, whatever you want to call them, inside radio gear, where they fill them up with wax, and you have to melt the wax in order to make any adjustments. This one actually has a moulded plug on it. So that's what it should look like. It's a legal plug. It's got a fuse in there. If I use something to pop that out, I'm not sure if I've got anything I can pop that out with. This soldering iron bit that I don't use might work for that. There we go. There's a fuse in there, and that connects between the live pin and the wiring inside. So that's what the plug should look like, but that's what the plug actually looks like on that. So we'll move this off the desk because I certainly do not need it. So we're not tuning any CBs, we're getting rid of this thing first. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it off. Off it comes. I'm going to use this because I'm pretty sure that'll go through that flex. Yep. And that's now off, and that can be disposed of or put on my museum of death traps. Preferably disposed of. Yeah, I do have a shelf full of electrical death traps, which I call my Museum of Electronic and Electrical Death Traps. A long story. So what I would want to do next, I'm going to undo this twist tie, because I do need more room to work. I just didn't undo that. I'm going to strip this flex back if I can strip it back. So, not a long flex, and I may have to change it anyway. It looks quite thin. I'm not happy with that either. Just like I'm not happy with the plug that was on it, and I'm not happy with the innards. And it's getting a 3 amp fuse in that plug anyway, which I have some over here. So I've got some 3 amp fuses here, which I've had lying around for a while. So we're going to need them later. So I'm going to try and do is use this tool if I can to see if I can strip that wire back. I'm going to do that off camera because I don't really want to try and do it on camera. I'm going to do it a bit longer than what I might need anyway. And it actually worked. So here we go, here's our cores inside. Got 2, blue's neutral and brown is live. They do look excruciatingly thin. So there's one test I want to do, and then we're going to trim it down again. That won't even go through these strippers, will it? Let's see. Let's try that. I'm going to put them in the strippers and see if it will actually do what I want it to do. Put them in the right way. Try and keep the focus on the bench so it doesn't look all blurry and horrible. There we go. So, that looks quite, you know, I'm not sure that's even going to make a contact in there. That does not look good. So this might need a whole new flex putting on it. Which I can do. If I can get hold of a 2-core flex, or I might have one lying around. But that just doesn't look right. Lighter test, I think. So I'm going to strip more insulation off that. There we go. This test will reveal if it's just copper or copper-coated aluminium. Now, if you've watched Big Clive's videos, you should know what's going to happen, but if not, I will let you know. So I'm going to bring that closer so you can see if it will actually focus on there. There we go. It doesn't want to focus there, does it? That's somewhat annoying. See if we can bring any closer. No, it doesn't want to focus. There we go. Oh, maybe not. No, it doesn't want to focus on that wire for some reason. That's slightly annoying. Right, I can't find a method to get that to focus, so try twisting that. Ugh. Does not feel right. That does not feel right at all. And here we go. Let's see whether it shrivels up or not. My lighter will work. There we go. And we're in the hot part of the flame. Oh. Okay. That hasn't done what I expected it to do. I'll show you. So I've done the little test to reveal if that's copper-coated aluminium. It hasn't shriveled up. What is that made of? I have no idea. What is it made of? That's odd. Do that again. No, it's just tarnishing. I think it's copper, but just not a lot of it. It's melted the insulation. So I think that's just copper. I don't know. See, it hasn't gone limp. I'll just go grab something magnetic. Okay, I've grabbed a tiny little magnet from the fridge, which is actually quite a... Ooh. You know what? I think that's got steel in it. Yeah, I think that's copper-coated steel. That's not really that great either, to be honest. Okay, so this is going to need a completely new flex. That's a steel flex. Oh dear. That's not good. That's not good at all. Right. New flex it is, I think. Okay, so I'm going to open this up now. Well, I'll say open it up, I'm going to open it back up. There's 4 screws holding it together. Try and focus on it, there we go. Because we need to be at the circuit board inside. It's not really something I can fit in the camera and not have my hands obstructed. Now, I'm keeping an eye out for the door. Well, an ear out for the door, actually. Because I've had to order some milk off Uber Eats for delivery. Yes, that's probably not the best thing to be doing, is ordering milk off Uber Eats to be delivered, but unfortunately, while I've been out today, I have had to stop for reasons, which I won't go into too much. So I thought I'd finish this video off. It's Good Friday as I'm filming this. Keep me occupied. I haven't got the soldering iron warmed up yet. That's probably not the greatest idea, not having warmed up the soldering iron. I'm about to start work that will involve soldering and desoldering. Now, I did find a flex in the end. So not the piece of flex I was looking for, though. Don't know where that's gone. Come to that in a moment, once I get this lid off and we're at the circuit board again. And now I've got to try and pop that out. I'll also keep an ear out my phone just in case. Is that going to come out? Yeah. There we go. It is now dismantled, so we can take this horrid weedy wire out. And yeah, you can tell straight away that wire is not any good. The flex I've got lined up is somewhat more substantial. I'm not sure whether it'll go through those holes, but we will try. So I need to turn the soldering iron on, so I've got to go under the bench. And I'll have to go and put some water on the sponge. So I'll go off and do that. I better tin my iron, hadn't I? Keeps focusing on other things, you'll be focusing on the desk. Use lead-based solder around here, not the lead-free trash that you find in things, which would include this, actually. Well, actually, to be honest, you never know with the Chinese, but there we go. One side disconnected, that's neutral. And the other side out, that's the live. So that's now the flex out of there. And there's the board, completely removed. I've now got to clear the 2 pads of solder. I'm looking at the holes. I'm not sure whether this new flex is going to fit through there. May need to make them a bit wider. I'm not sure how I'm going to do that, but we'll see. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to release the vise of no knowledge. Yes, my vise isn't of any knowledge whatsoever. It is of no knowledge. Unlike Big Clive's vise, which is of knowledge. Because it imparts knowledge. And put the board into the vise of no knowledge. If I can get it in there, I've got to remember there are components on it. Will it fit into the vise of no knowledge? Oh, I need helping hands for this. Yeah, I'll probably actually need the helping hands for this. The vise isn't working, so I'll bring in the helping hands, complete with this little magnifier that I don't ever use. So what I will need to do is I will need to hold it in there, like it, so you guys can actually see it. No solder sucker. Sure everything's a-okay with that. We're looking for the neutral and live terminals next to the rectifier on this board, which are down here. So neutral okay. Try that again before I clear the live out. Live cleared. Okay. And now I've got rid of the tatty flex. and as you can see, the burnt remains from when I was testing the wire to find out what it was. We ascertained it was a copper coated steel, and it was horrible. I now need to work out how I'm going to, well, first of all, I can't get that out of my grommet off. I think it's moulded on, so that's not coming off. That's not something I can deal with. There are probably alternative methods. So the flex I've chosen in the end is this one that's already got a plug on it. Now this did have the type of connector on the other end of it that you'd use for a cassette player or little radio, whatever, or even set-top box in this day and age, to convert old TVs to work with digital broadcast, because there's no more analog ones left because the lack of wisdom in, well, the powers that be decided that, oh no, we must have digital TV, we can't have analog anymore, because digital's just so much better. No, it isn't. Well, it probably is from a channel sharing point of view, because we want loads and loads of TV channels apparently, and radio channels, hence DAB. So I'm just going to try and make that as long as the other bit that was actually in the. So I'm just going to use my thumb to measure where I need to start stripping that. So I need to grab my wire strippers. I'm just going to drop the other cable. I do not want it. It is horrible. I'm going to strip this outer layer, if I can get it into this little strippers. Okay, let's bring them into shot, so you can see me make a fool of myself as I completely ruined that, which I didn't. That's good. Oh, he says now not able to get the insulation off. Okay, insulation is now off. There's my blue and brown wires. Next thing we need to do is strip those. Now, we don't need to strip them too much, but I will be trimming them down when I put them into the vise into the board anyway. I'm going to put the wires into the vise to tin them, so we'll be trimming them back. So should really be showing you me stripping the inner cores. There we go. So that's our live and neutral wires, just there. Will they even fit through those holes? No, they don't quite fit through the holes. That's slightly annoying. I'll just bring that off camera while I see that from the other side. Oh, no, hang on. No, it's splaying the wires out actually doing that, so not ideal. Let's try that again. Make sure I put it through the right hole as well. So obviously I don't want this to not work. Yeah, it's splaying the wires out when I try to put it through the hole, so the hole's not wide enough. So I'm going to have a look into seeing if I can widen that hole, because I don't really want to be in a situation where I can't get that through. Okay, so I'm going to tin the wires now. And if I tin the wires, then do the colour changing LEDs kind of mashed up on that. Then I might be able to get them wired in. Then we can test it later. So I'm going to start with the neutral. So I want it to be like a big ball of solder like that. Otherwise, that's not going to fit through the hole on the board. Oh, without melting that plug, although it turns out I don't need that plug now, I can keep it as a spare for something else that might need a plug on it. Okay, so brown wire time, which is actually slightly off shot. I want you to see that. Still off shot. There we go, it should be on shot now. And Sure everything's okay there. Okay, it's also balled up a bit. Okay, tinned because it's going into a circuit board. I'm going to see if they'll fit now. Not sure about the neutral. The live should be okay. Okay. It's not quite fitting through the board, which is a bit annoying. Show you that. Made the hole wide on the through-hole component side, but not on the track side. It would involve scraping off solder resist and everything. It doesn't quite fit through there. And I don't want to do it by soldering them direct to. And so let's try the neutral. And no, that's not quite going through there. It's gone through a little, but it hasn't gone through to the degree I want it to go through. Actually, I've managed to get the neutral in. So the neutral's gone in. So I've got the neutral in. It's a bit of a snug fit, but it's got kind of gone in. I would like the live to go in as well. Let's see if I can get the live in somehow. Okay, so I've got the neutral and the live are now into the board. So I've now got to solder them and then trim them back. So I'll bring that back in. And I'll put back into the helping hands. And we'll solder them in. Hopefully that will now be in. And I'll show you the inside of the plug and what it's supposed to look like. Now I will stress for those of you that aren't 100% confident with anything mains related, don't try this at home. Oops, try not to cut the rectifier off with my snips, that would be a good idea. Should be okay. So zoom in on that, I think, or focus rather. Okay, so that's now done. There's no wiring grommet or wiring gland or anything, so because I can't get the grommet off the other one, so it's properly moulded on. So this is a UK legal plug. This is the plug that was on this cable. It's held together with a screw. Whoops. Without melting anything, that would be very, very nice. So to open that, this plug, you would take the screw out. Probably covered this already. Get the screwdriver in there. It's been a couple of days since I filmed the last part, so it doesn't hurt to go over this again. Plug comes apart, and here's how it's wired inside. Blue goes straight to this one, this is neutral. Brown goes up here, that's live, which goes through the fuse. In this case it's a 3 amp fuse, which is what we need. That fuse is filled with a silica sand, and it's a high rupture capacity type fuse. Circuit breakers that protect socket circuits in the UK are usually rated at 32 amps, which is a lot of current in the grand scheme of things. A live to neutral short does cause things to go bang. I know, I've done it. and it isn't pretty. Now, because I don't have the same grommet to put in here that I had when I initially took it all apart and everything. Not sure what this is or where it's fallen out of. I'm not sure if this has anything to do with that, so I'll pop that there. Going to insert the circuit board back into here. The LED's gone a bit weird. Pins are a bit bent on it. It's all off camera this at the moment because this is a bit of a fiddly job. Because you've got to line up the two metal contacts that make contact with the battery on the radio. And then the LED also has to be lined up so it goes through the hole in the case. And hopefully, I'm going to have to tuck the flex underneath the board like that, aren't I? Yeah, because the flex isn't the same flex as it was before. I'm going to have to tuck it under there somehow. Make sure it doesn't get cut or caught on anything. Okay, I might have to take the board back out because the contacts aren't quite lined up where they're meant to be. Everything else is lined up, but not this one of the contacts, unless I can ping that out with my snips from one side or something. No, I'll take the board back out. Did this last time I tried taking this apart. Try and line them up again. That's a little bit better. So I'll push the LED through, clip the two halves together. With me not having the cable grommet this time, the cable's just going to flap about loose, which is not ideal. And that's the flex changed. Okay, so that's the charger now reassembled, complete with flex. Check the radio fits in it first. It does. So, I've got a shortwave radio in here as well. And that'll reveal if there's any noise, which I suspect there will be because there's no interference suppression in there that I can see. So, big moment of truth. It'll either go bang or everything will work. We'll find the plug. 3, 2, 1. The green light's lit up, there's no smoke, no bang. Let's bring this shortwave receiver closer. Right. And next I need to put the radio in there, which is probably buried behind the... Actually, what have I done with the radio? You guys probably saw where I put it. No, it's actually on the floor down here. There we go. Let's see what happens when I plug it into charge. Yeah, a little bit of noise there. Let's try a medium wave frequency. Oh, not that frequency. Ooh. Yeah, medium wave, let's try that. Makes a little bit of noise. Volume. turn it up a bit. Sounds quite noisy to me. Yes, there doesn't seem to be any interference suppression in there, so it's quite noisy. But it does work as a charger. It's currently charging the radio. That red light indicates it's charging. It goes green, it's charged, or there's no radio in there. Pretty much the same as most of these drop-in chargers. So, new flex. Well, used flex actually, because it's a flex I used before. And used plug, because the plug was already on the flex. Didn't need this plug in the end. So that's a spare plug for another project. Or something that might need a plug at a later date. Because I bought this plug from Tesco, it was only a couple of quid. I'm not sure I'd want to leave this plugged in. I'm not sure the mains isolation inside the transformer either. But otherwise, it's now safe. And rather than having, grab it, this horrible flex on it. I've still got the grommet on it from entry into the back of there, but nothing I can do but take about the strain relief grommet off. And when I find the damn thing, this horrendous, non-compliant, illegal plug. Now, considering I got that from a UK supplier, I'm actually very surprised. Anyway, it's fixed. It's sort of more compliant than what it was. The flex is better rated for the job. The plug is certainly legal now. But I'm still going to charge it off USB-C because I'm not confident about this charger. It's mainly only been plugged in for this demonstration, which will say it's just to show you can actually wire it, but you do have to actually make the holes on the board bigger, and I don't actually have a drill bit that would drill that, and I probably would have had to have taken some of the solder resist off as well doing that. Either way, it's working, and I'm happy with it. But not happy with it, if you know what I mean. So now I can charge my Quansheng on the drop-in charger if I want, but I'll probably stick to USB-C. Anyway, that's this video done. I'm going to go and edit it and have a cup of tea, do what I normally do when I do these things, and I'll catch you in the next one.